Have you ever looked at your brand's communication and felt like it's just all over the place? Inconsistent? If that sounds familiar, you're in the right spot. We are going to walk through a really clear, step-by-step guide to nail down a brand voice that not only feels authentic, but actually connects with your customers.
Just think about that for a second. When your messaging is all over the map, it's confusing, right? It can make you seem a little unreliable, maybe even unprofessional, and that can really cost you business. Your voice, well, that is your brand's personality, and getting it right is absolutely crucial.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with why this all matters. Then we'll dig into find your core values and define your unique tone. After that, we'll lock in total consistency, talk about the super important topic of being inclusive, and finally, bring the whole thing to life.
All right, first things first, let's really get clear on why this isn't just some fluffy marketing exercise. This is a core business activity that takes a vague idea of who you are and turns it into a seriously valuable asset. You know, it's not just what you say. It is all about how you say it. Every single email, every social media post, every little word on your website, it's a chance to show people who you are. You've got to make every single one of those opportunities count.
So before you can even think about how your brand should talk, you first have to know who it is. Your tone of voice has to grow from a really solid foundation, and that foundation, it's your core values.
There are basically two ways to get at this. You can start inside out, which means you look at your company's own DNA. What makes you tick? Or you can go outside in by analyzing the world you're operating in. Look, neither is wrong. They're just different starting points for the exact same journey.
Okay, let's get practical with this inside-out method. Just take a look at these questions on the screen. Answering them forces you to get super clear on your identity. That last one, though, is my absolute favorite. If your brand were a person, what would they be like? Right? Are they a witty expert? A warm, friendly guide? A bold innovator? This is where your brand's personality really starts to take shape.
Okay, so once you know who you are, it's time to figure out how you sound. This is the fun part, where we translate those big, abstract values we just talked about into a real, tangible communication style.
I absolutely love this analogy. Think of it like a graphic equalizer on a stereo. Your brand's voice isn't just one thing. It's a mix of all these different dimensions. Are you more on the humorous side or the serious side? A bit more formal or totally informal? See, you don't have to be all the way at one end or the other. The real magic is finding that perfect sweet spot on all these different sliders. Now, this exercise looks simple, but trust me, it is so powerful. Defining what you're not is just as important as defining what you are. It creates these really helpful guardrails. For example, you might decide you want to be informal, but definitely not sloppy. Or maybe you're authoritative, but never arrogant. See? Those little distinctions make all the difference. Now, here's the thing. Your tone of voice doesn't just live in a bubble. For it to be really effective, it has to be part of a totally consistent brand experience, from your website colors to your emails to your social posts. It all has to feel like it's coming from the same person.
Brand consistency really rests on these four pillars. First, you've got your personality traits. They guide everything. But then you have your logo and colors, your fonts, and your imagery. When your friendly, approachable voice is paired with warm, inviting colors and clean, modern fonts, everything just clicks. That's brand harmony right there. Next up is a topic that is just so critical in today's world: inclusivity. And let's be clear, this isn't about limiting your voice or making you walk on eggshells. It's about strengthening it and making sure your message can be heard and felt by the widest possible audience.
So, what does inclusive language actually look like? Well, it means putting people first. It means using gender-neutral terms whenever you can, being respectful of all cultures, and for sure avoiding stereotypes. It's really all about being conscious and intentional with our communication.
Here is a perfect, simple example of how easy this can be. The term blacklist, it has some historical baggage that can be harmful. By changing it to denialist, you communicate the exact same technical meaning, just without any of that negative stuff. It's a small change that can have a really big impact.
And why does this matter so much? Well, it's pretty simple. When you use inclusive language, you're not pushing people away. You're building a bigger tent. You're showing that everyone is welcome in your brand's world. And that, ultimately, is what fosters so much more trust and connection.
Okay, we've done all the deep thinking, we've defined our values, we've dialed in our tone, and we've committed to being consistent and inclusive.
Now, for maybe the most important part, how do we make this all real and make it actually stick?
This right here. This is your goal. A brand guide. This is your playbook, your rulebook. It is the single source of truth for your entire organization. So when a new person joins the team or you hire a freelancer, you don't just cross your fingers and hope they get your brand. No, you hand them the guide.
Your brand guide should be super practical. You're going to want to include your personality traits, the do's and don'ts for your logo, your exact color codes, font guidelines, and of course, those brilliant what we are versus what we're not examples. Basically, it's everything all in one place.
And here we are, the million-dollar question, right? It's one thing to create a beautiful guide. It's a whole other thing to get a busy team to actually follow it, consistently, day in and day out.
This is where technology can be a total game changer. Just imagine a tool that works right where your team is already writing, giving them real-time feedback. A tool that can check for tone, suggest better words, and make sure every piece of content lines up with your guide automatically. That's how you get consistency at scale without slowing anybody down.
And that brings us right back to where we started. This whole process, from defining your values all the way to using technology, it's all about one thing: building trust. Because when customers see and hear the same authentic brand everywhere, they don't have to work so hard to understand you. They just get you. And that feeling of ease and reliability, that's what builds trust and makes you memorable.
So I'll leave you with this one final thought. Take a minute and really think about it. After everything we've covered today, what's your answer? If your brand walked into a room and started a conversation, what would people actually hear? The answer to that question, well, that's the heart and soul of your brand's voice.